so happy that your relationship with your daughter has improved. Well, good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Dr. Janice Hooker Fortman, Relationship Matters, coming to you again. I hope everyone is having a beautiful, blessed, gorgeous day. Tonight, we are doing, or today, or this morning, wherever you are, we're doing part 2 to your relationship with money. And it's so very important right now during this time. We all want to know what to do with our money, whether we have a lot, whether we have a little. And tonight we have 2 experts. We have a children's financial literacy advocate, because it's so important to start financial education early. And then we have an expert when it comes to taxes. And I know we all want to know about that, because I definitely want to know. We are going to have some breakthroughs this evening. So I want to bring to you our first expert, Miss Vanessa Glover. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, Janice. How are you doing?
I am just fabulous. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing great, and hello to all of your audience.
Well, thank you. And can I say hello to my audience? Hi, audience. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Vanessa. Vanessa is an advocate for children learning financial literacy. And when I say she's an advocate, she's definitely an advocate. She encourages schools and parents to start and continue teaching children financial literacy. Her belief is that as children get older, they will be more prosperous in life with this knowledge if it's taught at an early age. Vanessa has a master's degree in business administration, and she's worked in accounting for approximately 30 years. She must have started when she was 10. And now she is an associate director. She has mentored and tutored children for several years and provided her service to improve their life skills and prepare them to lead a successful life. And years ago, Vanessa is a world traveler. And years ago, she attended a third world conference and published a research paper, and it was entitled Economic Growth and Education Expenditures in Third World Countries. In recent years, she's been able to travel to some of the third world countries such as India, Thailand, and Vietnam. Vanessa is also a distinguished Toastmaster. And for you who don't know what that is the highest designation in Toastmasters International. So, and there are very, very few in the world. She has succeeded in leadership and in public speaking. So, Vanessa, I'm going to jump right in and ask you some questions. Is that okay?
That's fine.
First of all, I want to know, and my audience wants to know, these are some of the questions that have come before from a lot of my audience members. What is financial literacy and why is it important?
Okay. Financial literacy is the ability to understand the effective use of various financial skills. It is important for each and every one of us to be able to utilize these skills so that we can properly manage our money.
Well, I need some skills. Let me tell you that right now. So what made you become interested in financial literacy?
As you stated, I've been working in accounting for approximately 30 years. I've managed up to $50 billion. If I can manage that amount of money, I should be able to manage my money and help others to do the same. Everyone should be interested in managing their money. Dr. Jan,
Yes,
do you know that 78% of all NFL players within 2 years of retirement have filed bankruptcy?
Woo! No, I did not know that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
In addition, a lot of lottery winners winning millions of dollars have filed bankruptcy. How does this happen? It happens due to a lack of financial knowledge. It is essential for people to learn how to budget, save, and invest. Usually, when people get a large amount of money, they run out and buy the biggest house they can or the fastest car instead of trying to find out how to properly manage that money. If you don't know how to manage the money you currently have, you will not know how to manage a large sum of money.
Okay. So, I don't have billions yet, but I'm hoping to get there. So I know you have a son, and I'm sure that you were teaching him about financial literacy. So why is it important to start with children? Why should they learn early?
Children need to learn financial literacy at a very early age. This way, as they become teenagers and adults, they'll be able to make financial decisions. Usually, parents make all the financial decisions for children. Therefore, children never gain that knowledge. They need to be able to learn at a very early age. It needs to be taught in school and also reinforced in the home. Dr. Jan, only, no, Illinois is one of 22 states that do not require financial literacy courses to be offered to students in high school. How can our students be able to be prepared for financial stability without this learning?
Wow. Now that's something I did not know, and I used to teach in the Chicago public schools, and you're right. I don't remember any courses that had to do with financial literacy. So Illinois, we got to get on the stick. And so as I said, I know you have a son, and I'm sure you taught him financial literacy. And so when he was in college, I know he graduated from college. So did he use the lessons that you taught him?
I wouldn't say that. I think he needed to learn more lessons, but I want to back up and tell you the lessons I did teach him prior to college. I started teaching him lessons, age appropriate lessons, when he was
Okay.
5 or 6. At that time, what I did is I gave him an allowance for doing his chores. He realized if he worked, he got money. I then prepared containers for him to put money into containers for savings, short term, mid-term, and long term. I explained to him that when you put money into the short term container, it was for expenses that you want to buy right away, for items you want to buy right away. However, if it costs more money, you need to save it a little bit longer. It was at his discretion how much he wanted to put into each container. He realized after a while he could only buy things that didn't cost that much.
Oh,
We had a number of lessons. When he was in 8th grade, he started his own little business of shoe shining. In high school, the high school actually offered for the students to get a credit card, a debit card, and a bank account. I
oh,
recall the very first time when he had an overdraft. It was about $25 or $30. He went to the bank, they gave him a waiver. He soon found out that that was the first and only waiver he was going to get. So he had to be able to manage his money. Also in high school, I gave him money for lunch for the week. He would go spend that all on the weekend. I took it to a different level. I said, I'll give you money for a month for your lunch, haircut, and all of your personal expenses. He had to learn how to manage that. I also told him about stocks and bonds, investing when he was in high school. By the time he got to college, I gave him money for the entire semester so that he would be able to budget his money, and he was by that time.
okay. And and I'm sure as an adult, He's abiding by what you taught him. I'm very sure. So now that you have all this knowledge of financial literacy, how has it benefited you?
Okay, it benefited me, well, a number of ways. I'll say with even helping others. First of all, I consider myself as economically savvy. I felt that you don't have to be rich or wealthy to be able to do the things that you want to do. I'm able to do those things by properly managing my money. I am a travel agent, so I get a chance to travel around the world. I take other people with me. In order to do that, we have to budget, save, and invest in our trip.
I guess so. Now, you said you're a travel agent, you travel around the world, and so, and you attended this third world conference. Is that what influenced you to come to the decision to advocate for children?
It wasn't the first time I decided to do this, but it added to me continuing to advocate for children. First of all, that was about approximately 20 years ago when I attended the Third World Conference and I wrote the research paper.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, they were called third world countries because they were poor countries. Now they're considered as developing countries. In my paper, I wrote about India. I had the opportunity a few years ago to go to India twice. When I went to India, I realized that America has poverty. You have not seen poverty until you go to places in India.
Yeah.
They had lack of food, shelter, medical care. When I came back, I realized that even though they were poor, they were resourceful. They were selling jewelry and blankets. I thought, wow, in America, we do have poverty, but most of us are not impoverished. Therefore, we need to be resourceful and find ways to be able to become financially stable and teach our children at an early age so that they can learn early how to be financially wealthy.
All right. I was You should have been around long time ago when I was a child to learn financial about all about financial literacy. So, I'm going to bring you back a little later, Vanessa, because I know that learning financial literacy early impacts the way that we use our money, spend our money as an adult. But first of all, I got to go to a commercial because I have sponsors. And when I come back, I'm going to bring you another expert, and we're going to talk about what happens when you're an adult and you're filing your taxes and you did not have the benefit of learning all about financial literacy. So we'll be right back. Hi, we're back. That was so interesting. And I hope that all of you parents and grandparents out there are really thinking about starting your children and teaching them all about money. So, but now we're going to come to a subject matter that has to do with taxes. And we're going to have another breakthrough. Well, hello there, Mr. Edmund Scott. How are you?
I'm blessed. I woke up this morning. And how are
Oh,
you?
yes, exactly, exactly. And what can I say? Uh, I'd like to tell this to folks. I talked to Edmund Scott, and I said, "Well, now that tax season is over," and you know what he said to me? Tax season is never over. I'm like, oh, okay. So I want to introduce Edmund Scott to you and tell you a little bit about Edmund before we dive into taxes. Edmund Scott is the sole proprietor of Scott Enterprise, which has successfully provided multiple services such as casualty insurance, income tax preparation, notary public services, and real estate sales. He's done this for the residents and businesses of the Roseland community in Chicago, Illinois, for over 44 years. So you must have started when you were 5. Okay.
Too. I'm only kidding you. Okay.
He was recognized and received an award for his devoted business services to his community from the Far South Community Council of Chicago Public Schools. Edmund was married to Theo Scott for 46 years until her death in January 2017. And of course, we'd all like to offer you our condolences.
Thank you.
Edmund Scott was the chairman of his family's organization, the Scott Family Roots, for over 44 years, and he still continues this today. He serves as the president for the Roseland Business Development Council, and he served as the Grand Master of the Most Worshipful Zion Grand Lodge. He is a member of the House of Prayer, Church of God in Christ in Chicago, Illinois. That is Mr. Edmund Scott. You've done so many different business adventures and ventures, but today we want to talk about taxes. So, so you are a tax consultant. Exactly what does a tax consultant do?
Well, before we get started, first of all, I'd like to say thank God for allowing me to be here to talk to you. And I appreciate you inviting me to be on your show. I did enjoy Vanessa's spiel about children because I'm a biblically taught person, and it says train the child in the way that it should go, and when it is old, it will not depart from it. So those things that she's saying, and I commend her on her efforts and her knowledge about educating the children on finances. And again, I want to thank you for inviting me to be on your show. Uh, That was a good question you asked me as far as saying what exactly does a tax consultant do? Well, a multitude of things.
Okay.
Uh, uh, we consult with you on your income tax situation. And by doing that, we ask you many questions that will help the preparer to do your taxes in a better way that somebody else might be able to do them on their own. So that's why you need a consultant so that you get some answers to your questions so that you'll be in a position to do your taxes properly. So as a consultant, we answer your questions and we try to guide you in a manner that will help you be successful in your filings.
Okay. So in the tax preparation process before we come to you, um, what information do you need from people in order to adequately file their taxes?
Well, there's a lot of things that you need. You need to try to assemble any and all items that you may think pertains to your income tax situation so that they can be assessed. And then the consultant or preparer can advise you if they have or do not have the things needed to prepare your income taxes properly. There's a multitude of things. If you think that you need it, bring it. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So anything that you think would pertain to filing your taxes, you should bring it to the consultant or the preparer so that they can assess your situation. And then if there's something lacking, they can advise you on that. And if you have everything, God bless you.
Okay. Okay. So, uh, what's the most common problem that you see with your clients?
Not enough information. That's the most common problem. Like I said, gathering the information to prepare your taxes is something that you need to take really uh, your time in doing, because if you think you may need it, and I stress the word may,
Okay.
bring it. And a lot of people say, well, I only have it in my mind. Well, write it down. Uh,
Okay.
some people say, well, I didn't think you needed that. Well, it's not what you think. It's what you actually have that the preparer has to go on. And that's what you should consider bringing. If you think you may need it, bring it. Even if you don't need it, bring it. And say, it was like I said, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not to have it. So
Okay.
that's one of the things, as far as I think, is one of the shortcomings of people getting their taxes prepared. They don't bring you enough information to properly do your taxes. Then you have to send them back. I've had them come to me without a W-2
Oh, okay.
and
Okay.
say, I thought you can get that through the job. Well, don't put extra work on me because it costs you more. My time costs, you. So if I have to gather it off the internet for you, then you're taking up my time. So therefore, you get charged for that. Time is what? Money.
Money. Right. Money. And so, in other words, then we should have everything organized, not just bring you a whole bunch of stuff in a shopping bag.
No, don't bring it in a shopping bag because that takes time too. Time
Okay.
is what? Money.
Okay.
But I'm saying this all this to say this here. Try to be as organized as you can. Uh,
Okay.
the things that you bring should be basic, and also things that you think would be helpful in filing your taxes. It might not be, but it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I'm being redundant on this because of the fact that, one, the more information you have, the better chances of your taxes being prepared more efficiently.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, I want to ask you about this, about audits. Should we be afraid, that we're going to have an audit on our taxes? I know most people, including me, it's like, oh God, I don't want to be audited. Should we be afraid of an audit?
My answer to that is that's a good question.
Okay.
But I would say to this, fear nothing.
Okay.
Uh, if you have done your due diligence in gathering your data
Mm-hmm.
and the consultant or preparer does theirs, there should be nothing to fear. And
Okay.
audits are random. You can have everything, every T crossed, every I dotted, and you still get an audit. They're random, but
Okay.
sometimes there are red flags,
Mm-hmm.
and you can look for an audit if you have a red flag.
What's a red flag?
A red flag is something like you make $20,000 and you gave 19,000 to the church. I'm being facetious, but you have some things that are red flags that causes them to say this can't be right. The numbers don't add up. You know what I mean? How
Yeah.
could you live off of $1,000 and if you only got 20? You know what I mean? You gave 19,000. I'm being facetious, but I'm being a little exaggerant. Because of the fact that one, uh, those are things that are called red flags. Something that will cause you to look twice. You know what I
Okay.
mean? That doesn't sound right.
Okay.
But if you've done due diligence in getting your things together and with the help of your consultant or advisor or preparer, then less likely the chances are you're going to be audited. So, and then again, like I say, if you've done your part, don't be afraid of anything. Uh,
Okay.
I don't like the word being fearful, you know what I mean?
All right.
Because you face every day, there's danger all around you, and life goes on.
Okay.
Fortunately for those of us that are hearing me now.
Okay. So now, so how many people, in your estimation, lie about their deductions?
I don't like to use that term lie. They may
Okay.
exaggerate. They may exaggerate.
Okay.
But that those are the things that you have to be cautious on. Like I said, if you've done your due diligence in collecting your data, there'll be no need for it. And I like the previous person you had on, Vanessa, saying prepare for it, and you get your material together, you bring it to the consultant, and let him do the work for you. If you're not satisfied, then you can tell him the thing that you're not happy with, and he can tell you how to rectify it.
Okay.
If you don't get enough money back, that's on you, based upon what he tells you.
Okay.
You follow?
All right. And you really answered. I had another question. You answered my question because uh, I just wondered, uh, do you advise them differently, to improve their tax situations? In other words, let's say I owe a lot of money, and you see that there might be a way where I don't owe as much. So, do you advise them on how to improve their tax situations?
I certainly would,
Okay.
especially if they bring it to my attention. Some people come knowing that they're gonna owe, and I
Yeah.
said, why would you want to owe this kind of money when you can do this or you can do
Okay.
that?
Okay.
Uh, and some people say, well, I'd rather owe the IRS than me giving them my money. I'd rather, and I tell you, that's negative thinking. That's
Okay.
backwards thinking because of the fact that one, it's like you're hoping to die. You know,
Oh,
I'd rather owe the IRS than me owing them. You know, uh, them owing me rather. But
okay. Yeah.
what I'm saying is this: put yourself in a position so that you pay the minimum amount of taxes, and that's the part of this world that we're living in. You work, you pay taxes. You earn money, you pay tax on it, and that's what keeps the government going. Your tax dollars.
Okay. All right. So, how can I find out what my tax bracket and my tax rate is?
By your consultant doing your taxes. Taxes
Oh,
differ. Tax brackets differ. It depends upon your deductions and or your income. That
okay.
puts you in a certain tax bracket. Uh,
Okay.
uh, I just consider it a low tax bracket or a high tax bracket, and that depends on the individual themselves. Uh, if you want to be in a low tax bracket, then you try to get all your deductions together. You try to have enough money withheld from your earnings, or you put aside some money from your earnings to offset the tax liability.
Mm.
So the bracket itself depends upon income versus the liabilities that you want to write off.
Oh, okay. I got a whole lot of questions.
Okay, I'm going to do the best that I can, Lord willing, to answer your question to the best of my ability.
I appreciate that.
Okay, ask.
Okay, so oh geez, I hear it. So so what's the
Why am I getting feedback?
I don't know, I was gonna say there was some feedback. So what's the difference between a tax credit and a tax deduction?
A tax credit is like dependence, your status. That's your tax credit. Your,
Okay.
a deduction is could be the same thing also, but a deduction is like a write off, and a write off would be what you contribute to. Don't do that, girl.
No, that was me because my screen went black. Okay, go ahead.
A deduction is things like a contribution. A deduction is the number of dependents that you have. A deduction is your medical expenses. A deduction is your interest on your mortgage. Your deduction is your property taxes that you pay. Those are deductions in which are write-offs. So those are two one and the same as I speak. As I
Oh,
see it, they're one and the same. A deduction and a write-off are to me one and the same
okay.
because you get credits for each one.
Oh,
For
okay.
example, if you have three children and another person has one child, who gets the better deduction?
The one with the three children. I
All
hope.
right.
Yeah.
So and the same thing goes with a write-off. How many write-offs can you take?
As many as I can.
Three. Three.
Oh,
To be, I'm pertaining to children. Okay,
okay.
so you have, so to me, they're one and the same. A deduction and a write-off are one and the same because you get credit for each one. So they're synonymous.
Okay. All right. So if I owe a lot of money in the end, no matter what you do, as my tax consultant, and let's say, I've earned a lot of money,
Okay.
and uh, and let's say by the time you finish working with me, or and the money that I owe, I can't pay. What do I do?
Pray. No. Well, here's the thing that you can do. There's a form called 9465, which is a payment schedule.
Okay.
Say I can make arrangements to make payments. You can either do it yourself monthly, or
Uh-huh.
you can have it automatically deducted from your account, checking or savings, so that you can pay a certain amount on the liability. So if you owe money, if you can't go and get it, you can make arrangements to pay it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If you can't say you owe $10,000, well, who has $10,000? They can just give up right away. So
Right.
you say, well, I can pay $500 a month on this tax liability.
Okay.
So you can either make yourself liable to go and get the money and pay it yourself, or you can have it automatically deducted from an account that you might have money going into, or have a savings account or a checking account that you might have some money that they will automatically take it if you tell them a certain date. Like some people get money once or twice a month, and on this particular date, you can say take $500 out of this account.
Okay.
So they will take it out until the amount is paid. Also realizing that you have to pay interest on the unpaid balance,
Okay.
but you can
Okay.
still get it done.
Okay. All right. Um, one other question I have. You see a lot of, and you hear a lot of advertisements about, if you owe more than $10,000, we can help you cut your taxes. And then they have these people come on, I owe $25,000, and now I only owe 1,000. Are those places legit?
Well, here again, it depends on the context that they're speaking. If you owe money and the next year you don't owe money, there's something that took place. Or the thing what I'm saying is they had more monies taken out, or
Okay.
they they cut back on whatever they were spending their monies on. But if you owe money and then to get it reduced, there's some ways that you can become indigent and say that you can't pay it. And
Okay.
if you become indigent and you can't pay it, then you have to prove it. You have to show all of what your liabilities are, all of what your income is, and they will pardon or give you relief to bring that tax liability that you owe down.
Okay.
It's called an offer in compromise.
Offer.
In compromise. An
Oh.
offer in compromise. Yeah. You say, well, I can afford to pay this amount, uh, and show that you can pay that amount based upon your income. But you have
Oh.
to show all of your expenses, your liabilities, and the amount of money that you're bringing in, so that you can afford. You know, the compromise is that I can pay this amount, but I can't afford to pay that,
Okay.
and that's called an offer in compromise.
Okay. All right.
There's also an injured spouse too.
You say what?
There's also an injured spouse.
What is that?
The injured spouse is a person that there when you file a joint return and your spouse is the one that caused it. You follow what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And you can file as an injured spouse because you had nothing to do with that income, uh, and based upon your income versus the other person's income, you become the injured spouse, and then you can file what they call an injured spouse return. Which,
Wow. That's something I really didn't know. I mean, you have educated me.
well,
Are you
hopefully,
in your spouse? looking at me like, have you lost your mind? Thank you so much, Scott. I've got to go to another brief commercial, and I'm going to bring. I see a lot of questions and a lot of comments, so I'm going to bring both of you all back, and to get to these questions and these comments. So we will be right back after this brief commercial.
fine.
Okay. All right. Well, three of us are back. And I have learned so much about financial literacy and about taxes. And I'm not going to say anything about my taxes. The fact that I always file late, I always owe. So now let me do some of these comments here. Look at that, Vanessa. A manual regarding this valuable information. All right. She put it out there from Sarah Crawley. And Robert Brooker says, wow, everything is awesome. And gee, I have another comment. Who is that? All righty, Dimitri. So let me get you a question here. So this is to Vanessa. What's one thing that you advise our youth not to do in order to become financially stable?
What I would advise them not to do. I would advise our youth not to spend every penny that they have. Usually, when they get money, it's hot in their pocket and they have to spend it right away. You can spend some of it. However, make sure that you save some for a rainy day.
Okay, okay. And we have another comment here for you from Deb. She says, great. I've taught financial literacy to middle schoolers and now work with college students. I like to work with high schools as they prepare for college budgeting. So, and she's thanking you for sharing some vital information. And Scott, I have a question that came from another site. I think that's probably why we got some feedback. It says here the tax laws have changed and we can't deduct what we could in previous years. So is that a negative or positive, or how does that work?
Well, anytime they take less deduction from you, that's a negative. Uh,
Okay.
because of the fact that you used to be able to take work clothes off, on your Schedule A. You can't do that now. It's only for military and stuff like that. Yeah, when they take things away that you can't deduct, then it's a negative for you. So that means that your tax liability is going to rise.
Okay. And another one I have here. What do you consider the greatest challenge to the work of tax professionals at this time?
The greatest challenge now is that we only have 4 months to do taxes for a year's worth of people. Uh,
You
I
said,
wish they would,
say that again. You said what?
4 months. We are January through April.
Okay, yeah.
This year we got an exception due to the COVID-19. Uh,
Okay.
we went to July 15th instead of April 15th. But normally speaking, we have until April the 15th to file our taxes, which means that we put in quite a few hours trying to do a year's worth of work in 4 months. I wish they could take some of my thoughts that would say we would divide it into quarters, so that
Okay.
you'll be working at a constant base all year. Say A through J, you do the first quarter, and then from K through another alphabet for the second quarter, and that would keep you working all year without having to spend uh, many hours in the office trying to keep up with your tax load. Those hours that you spend are quite taxing, pardon the pun, on an individual. You spend? I have in my earlier days, which I don't do anymore. I have in my earlier days started work at 8:30 in the morning and work until 2:30, and then right back in there again at 8:30 again. That's too much for an individual. But I was so dedicated and wanted to do and make the dollars that I could, that I would try to stay there and do all that I could,
Yeah.
fall out, sleep in the bed, pull myself out of the bed in the morning, come back and do the same thing again. Uh, to me, that's too much for the body to take in that short period of time. And like I said, if they could take some suggestions from an experienced person, to as far as the hours that are being put upon you to work, they would lengthen the time out, that you would have taxes being prepared all year instead of in that short period of time of 4 months to do. You see a year's worth of people in 4 months.
Wow. So have you sent that proposal to the federal government?
No, I'm thinking about retiring. But that's something that someone else can take. And I might do it since you brought it up,
Yeah.
because of the fact that I know a lot of tax consultants and preparers feel the same way as I do. They spend hours and hours and hours in the office, and then after April 15th, then they collapse.
Wow. Wow. I could understand that. What I would like to get is one piece of advice from each of you that we can take away. So let's start with Vanessa.
I would like to encourage all of the parents to ensure that your child's school has financial literacy in the curriculum. In addition to that, that you as parents take steps right now to start teaching your children about financial matters. The time is now.
All right. And if someone would like to get in contact with Vanessa so she can start advocating and writing that manual and teaching your children, you can reach her at blessness1230@yahoo.com. Now, Scott, tell me about you as far as what is one something that you is very important that you want to turn. I don't know what's going on here, all kinds of things. Somebody tell me how much they're enjoying the show. One piece of advice that you'd like to give.
Well, I would like to piggyback on what Vanessa has said. Uh, my thing would say, uh, there's a thing, like I said, I was church raised, and about tithes. And I say, if you make $1, save a dime.
Mhm.
Period.
I gotta remember that. Well, that is tithing. That is tithing.
Well,
10%.
that's giving away. No, giving away is tithing. But I say, if you make $1, save a dime.
Okay, so if you want, okay, so what about tithing? So if we make
I, I
it,
didn't. I didn't. I don't take anything away from that.
okay,
So you're talking about 20% now.
okay, okay, yeah, okay. I see one more comment here, and Demetrius Glover, what did she say? Financial. Finance. I wonder who this is. That's your son. He said financial literacy in the curriculum. Exactly, Demetrius. Exactly. Exactly. This is so. You know, um, the hour goes by so fast. And I have a bunch of other questions and don't have time. But anyone can go to my website or my email. If you have any questions, you can also go to the Relationship Matters page. And if you have any questions, any more comments, I will definitely make sure that Vanessa Glover, the Children's Financial Literacy Advocate, and Edmund Scott, even though he thinks he's going to retire, but you know what? I think he's going to want some more clients. Wait a minute. Just a little note. I told him I was going to bring my taxes to him. I said, but if I bring my stuff to you, I don't want you to fuss at me. He said, I'm going to fuss at you. Oh, okay. Okay. But this has been so educational, so interesting. I want to thank you, Vanessa Glover,
Thank
for
you.
bringing us this information on children's financial literacy. And I want everyone to take that to heart. Really take that to heart. And Vanessa, write a proposal to all these different school systems, and you never know, someone might pick that up, and because it's really, really, really important. And Edmund Scott, Mr. Tax Consultant, you have really educated me on some things I really didn't know. I got one other question that came in right quick. Um, what's the difference? Okay, what they want to know. Oh, they use one of those electronic tax, where they said, I hate to say it, but TurboTax, that's what they said. Should they use that? Is that okay to use, or should they really come to a tax consultant?
Uh, that's up to the individual. Uh, Using TurboTax is it's like a one-time fee that you get for filing your own taxes, but you don't get the knowledge and the wisdom of someone that has the experience of advising you properly. There, it's like what you put in is what you get out.
Okay.
So you don't get the full benefit of a consultant as you would from a live person rather than a TurboTax or whatever type of tax program you might try to use. They can't advise you on things or you see a shortcoming. It's what's there is in black and white, and you just have to use what they put in there. But a tax consultant, you can uh, I could say verbalize with them and express yourself, and they can give you the right direction.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I see some more questions, but we don't have any more time. But I want to thank you all again for coming. And I want to thank the viewers, all of my viewers, for tuning in and listening. I really hope that you really got some good information. So I want Vanessa and Edmund to just know that you have actually been a blessing to all of us, to me and all of my audience. So I want you all to have a beautiful, blessed evening, blessed day, blessed afternoon.
Back at you.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much,
All righty.
Janice.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh, wow. That was great. Now, if you would like to advertise on this show and increase your visibility, please contact us at 1-877-667-7325. And for more details, you can go to janfornow125 at gmail.com. I want to thank all of my viewers again for coming in. And again, I really hope that you got something out of it and that you will follow those breakthroughs and that advice. So I will see you next time. Have a beautiful, blessed evening, day, morning, night.